Hey, welcome to this week's show. We're talking about villains.
Yeah, we got like a 4-part series that's really focused around the story of Moses, and we're looking at it from kind of a story angle lens of heroes
Characters.
and villains and all that kind of stuff. So
today we're talking about villains.
So we're talking about villains, and so what is some of the most infamous
Whoa,
villains
wait a minute.
mind?
Back it up. I was told I needed to come up with... Oh, turn the sand timer. There we go. Sands a timer running, everybody. All right. I have my villain.
You have your villain.
That you told me I needed to come up with, and you said it couldn't be fictional.
Could not be fictional.
Could not be fictional. And I didn't want to name a human. So here it is. I've not fictional.
Yes.
Very, very real.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The brown recluse spider.
Oof. Let's not.
Come on,
I'm not even going to talk about
There's
that
one right
anymore.
on your shoulder.
Dude, stop it. Oh.
There is nothing redeemable about that creature.
All right. So if you don't know, I'm very afraid of spiders. So we're going to move past this conversation real quick. You give me that, and I give you termites. Nobody likes termites.
Has anybody ever been killed by termites?
Houses. There's got to be like one situation
Where a house fell down on somebody?
Because of termites. There's got to be at least one in the history of the world. There's got to be one. Now, I will say termites are food for a lot of other animals.
Of course,
monkeys.
I think termites have a lot of redeeming features.
I don't think so.
They do. They're the world's recyclers and composters.
So are ants.
Without termites, we would have a problem. Without brown recluse, I'm getting specific. Without the brown recluse spider, it wouldn't change a thing. They don't consume enough.
Let's
bugs.
Let's stop. Yeah, let's stop with that one. Okay, perfect. Awesome.
All right.
Now let's talk about fictional villains.
Okay, fictional villains.
Fictional villains. Now I said Cruella de Vil.
Okay.
Because she's kidnapping puppies. But then you were saying that there's some movie out now where she's like...
Yeah, now all the things...
Considered like a good person or something? Or was it a prequel?
No, I think... I think like the terminology would be like...
backstory?
Well, like an antivillain. Or once you get more of the backstory of a villain, what's created a villain's modus operandi... Right?
Yeah.
When that villain's has experienced situational traumas, or when you've developed a sympathy,
like understand why they're villainous.
Your empathy can kick in and understand why they're villainous. And when it moves from a motive of pure selfish evil and self-serving, greedy ambition, and there's another layer to it. Mm-hmm. It softens it removes them from being a pure villain.
Yeah,
and then it's like an anti-villain or a sub-villain.
I just think we leave Cruella de Vil alone. She was trying to make fur coats out of Dalmatians. Like that does.
And I haven't.
I don't really care what happens in your backstory to cause you to want to do that, but it just doesn't seem redeemable.
Okay.
But yet she could be redeemed. Anyway, so like, what makes a villain a villain? You kind of touched on it a little bit, right? You kind of touched on a little bit like this selfish motivation.
Self-serving motivation.
The motivation causes somebody. So maybe not the actions per se, but it's the
motivation behind
the action.
The actions can be evil, bad, right? Like car speeding down the interstate at 300, kilometers an hour, and I had to use kilometers because I said 300. See what I'm saying? See what I did there?
Yeah. Kilometers.
I had to go
Kilometers.
I had to go British on you. So, screaming down the interstate and causes a wreck and hurts a bunch of people. And this is just reckless, villainous, bad behavior. And then you realize they were rushing someone to the hospital who was having in the middle of cardiac arrest, right? And then it changes.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about.
It's like when you hear of somebody that's like, say, stealing from a retail establishment just because, I don't know, they want to, they get a thrill out of it or whatever.
Okay.
Versus somebody like on no money, like at their
Like
ropes
Aladdin getting the bread.
You know, Aladdin, somebody taking diapers for their kid because their babies had the same diaper for a week or something, right? Like you feel more empathy because of the motivation behind the person than you do. So
we're talking fictional villains.
We could talk about.
I mean, that's what we're talking about.
What we're kind of talking about is through the lens of the story of Moses. Let's backtrack or get on track with the story of Moses.
Are you calling Pharaoh a villain?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there's some Egyptians that wouldn't, but most other people would. So we look at the role of the Pharaoh, right, in the story, and not only does he decree to kill off all the Hebrew boys and only keep the girls, right?
We're past that.
I mean, we're past that, but that's obviously,
we're doubling down.
The motivation behind that isn't great. So then, you've got the Hebrew people are building bricks for him, making bricks, right?
Yeah.
So he can expand his kingdom. And so he's
so here we
makes
go.
them
Here, let's add some scripture.
Okay.
Add some scriptural
let's
context.
read it.
Because we're gonna have let's do Exodus 5.
1 through 9.
Yeah, so here we go.
Or so.
Well, yeah, I'm just gonna pick through here. So Aaron and Moses say this to Pharaoh. This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says: Let my people go, so that they may hold a festival to me in the wilderness. So they've made a request. Hey, dude, come on. Can we? All right, it's we've done enough.
Yeah, we've worked hard enough.
We're out, right?
Yeah.
To which Pharaoh says, "Who is the Lord that I should obey him and let Israel go? I do not know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go." That was that's a no for me, dog.
that's a hard no for me, dog.
That's or ibis
as
or
all the
whatever
kids say these days.
Yeah. What was the Egyptian when ibis, wasn't that the dog? One of the trying to remember my Egyptian mythology.
I don't know.
That's a no for me, ibis.
That's a no for me, ibis.
All right. Anyway, then they said, "The God of the Hebrews has met with us. Now let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God, or he may strike us with plagues or with the sword." But the king of Egypt said, "Moses and Aaron, why are you taking the people away from their labor? Get back to your work." Then Pharaoh said, "Look, the people of the land are now numerous, and you are stopping them from working." So,
yeah.
now our villain.
And I was like, 3-day vacation. There ain't no vacation plan.
No 3-day weekends.
No retirement.
No
3-day weekends.
No half days
Get
off
back
school.
to work.
Wait a minute. Sorry, off topic.
Off topic.
So anyway, the same day. Here we go.
So he's probably stewing over it all day, right?
Well,
like he's like the nerve of these people.
He's saying, now this is happening.
You know what? I just thought of something. Not only do you not get a 3-day vacation, but
now this is happening.
Yep.
All right. So we're getting ready. Here we go. Verse 7.
7.
Well, actually 6. The same day, Pharaoh gave this order to the slave drivers and overseers in charge of the people: "You are no longer to supply the people with straw for making bricks. Let them go and gather their own straw, but require them to make the same number of bricks as before. Don't reduce the quota. They are lazy. That is why they are crying out, let us go and sacrifice to our God. Make the work harder for the people so that they keep working and pay no attention to lies.
Dude, so rude.
Horrible.
So,
Villainous.
straw is used as like a binder to make bricks, right? It's like the egg of bricks back then.
Yeah, it's like the reinforcement, like fiberglass reinforced concrete.
Yeah, like rebar.
Yeah, or just like fibers, like fiberglass
Yeah.
reinforced concrete.
Yeah, so without it, you can't make bricks.
Yeah.
Or they're really bad.
Yeah, and I think straw probably has a little gluten left over in it. That's always good for sticking things together.
So now they don't get the straw to make the bricks. They got to go get their own straw to make the bricks.
You ever had oatmeal?
And I don't really like oatmeal.
Have you ever had oatmeal? Have your kids ever had oatmeal?
Yes, Penny loves oatmeal.
Have you ever had like the half bowl oatmeal that they just left on the counter and everybody ran out of the house because we're in a hurry and then you come home later?
No, I don't eat that. But I've seen it.
You've seen it?
Yeah,
It
I've had to like
just throw
clump it out
just
of
throw the bowl away.
Just
No, just throw it away.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
so pretty villainous move here, right? Because you're keeping the quota for the number of bricks the same.
Yep.
And now you're giving them a bunch more work to do. I can't imagine collecting straw as like, an easy task for them to just be able to go and, that's like 5% more work.
Now
it's got to be a lot more work, don't you think?
And like, all right, so the overseers, slave drivers, and handlers here, Pharaoh tells them to not supply them with straw, right? Mm-hmm. Interesting question. Weren't there probably wasn't like getting straw like a slave's job anyway?
Well, maybe the transportation of it, but maybe they were buying. You don't know. Maybe they were buying straw.
Idea.
Maybe the straw was a byproduct of something else that they were doing. Like, no, but you know what I'm saying? It's like maybe they just had it and they were like, oh, well, we need to make bricks. Go give it to the slaves, right?
Okay.
We'll send some slaves with a cart to come get it, right? But now he's like, you know what? No, we're going to use that for something else. You go out to the field and get your own.
Got it.
Right? That's how I interpret it, right? So, my I'm going to make a really bad analogy.
I love it.
You ready for a really bad analogy?
Yeah, I make really good analogies, so I could use a humbling bad one.
So, it's like when people complain that their boss is giving them more work but not enough time to do it. You hear like a company is like laying off half their workforce or a third or whatever.
But they're not slowing down
production. And they want to still like have the same profits. Not calling companies villainous. Not making that just a real world analogy. And immediately when you hear that, hey, we're laying off a third of the workforce, but we need all this stuff done and we need it done sooner. You're like, please, like, lay me off, give me a severance, right? Because I don't want to stay and have to do even more work, right?
Right.
So just real world example, I'm sure like a lot of people have been in that situation or know somebody that's been in that situation.
I've read about the situation.
Yeah. So obviously very, very tough.
Hey, sometimes that drives up the stock price though.
Almost always. Almost always. Because you're saving expenses. Labor is one of your highest expense in any business.
Should be.
So, so how does that reaction, not only does he just dismiss, like, it'd be one thing if Pharaoh was like, no, guys, stop. I'm not going to give you a 3-day weekend. Go back to work. Make your bricks. And that was it, right? Because then you kind of be like, well, he said no, but like just to go overboard with it. It was like, how dare these people demand something of me? I'm going to make their life miserable.
Yeah, I think that strikes to the heart of the villainous mode. And all right, so to be the villain, you have to be the antithesis to the hero, and to be the hero, you have to not be selfish. You have to be fighting for a greater cause or a greater purpose or others, right? So to be anti that, you're completely against anything positive for anyone else. So I think Pharaoh's reaction, or his doubling down, is his defiance of a God he doesn't believe in the power of.
Oh, you think it has to do with the fact that it was for God that he doesn't believe in? You think that's the motivating behind it?
Well, that's the motivation, or that's what Moses and Aaron brought before him.
Right.
They could have came.
What if they just wanted a 3-day weekend to sit around?
They could have just said,
have a meal.
If they would have came and said, "Hey, I want a 3-day weekend," he's like, "No 3-day weekend,"
and that's it.
But they're like, "Hey, we want a 3-day weekend because our God says give us one." That's when he's like, "Well, now this is happening. What's your God going to do about this?"
Yeah,
and that's a teaser for you.
If you don't know the story, that's a teaser.
That is a teaser right there. Because then God says, now this is happening.
Hey, don't jump ahead. Don't jump ahead.
Sorry.
So vice versa. Let me ask a different question for you. So if motivation is, if a bad motivation causes you to be villainous, does a bad motivation cause you to not be a hero? So you did this heroic act, but the motivation was not selfless. Maybe the motivation's selfish. Do you still get the hero status? I mean, granted, maybe only you know your motivation, right? But like, if you did something charitous, right? Like you gave something away.
I think that's called an anti-hero.
Is it?
Right? Like,
you know what I mean?
Like it's good, but it's coming from a flawed place, or a flawed place goes and does something good. So it's not pure, like we have pure,
right. Well,
unadulterated
they
heroism.
Become a villain because of it. I'm just saying, like, do you lose that hero status?
No,
and you just did a good deed.
No, it's the whole anti-hero thing. I don't know. I'd have to re-listen to that Taylor Swift song.
I don't even know how to respond to that. Who's Taylor Swift?
Oh my goodness.
I'm joking. So
she's a 16-year-old country music artist.
I think she's older than that.
Just broke through.
I think she's a little bit. I think she's 17.
No, sorry. I was trying to date our episode back to just a breakthrough country music artist.
Country music. So what I think is also interesting in this is it's really Pharaoh's response is really two-part. I think the first part is him responding to the request for a 3-day weekend. He's like, no. But then his like doubling down on making them do more work is really a reaction, right? Like later, he's so mad about this. He's like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, you ready for this analogy?
You know what I mean?
Here's your analogy.
Yeah,
it's like 4:00 in the afternoon, last day of school. Kid says, "Hey, Dad, can we have ice cream tonight after dinner?" And Dad's like, no ice cream, no dinner. Go to bed now. 5:00. See ya."
Well, that's a reaction.
I know, that's Moses.
Yeah.
Or sorry, that's what he
Pharaoh,
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Pharaoh did to Moses there. Like,
man.
And then it's like, oh yeah, go tell your sister. Same thing applies to her.
And you're grounded for the weekend.
Yeah, that's what
for even asking for ice cream.
Yeah, and now you have to go next door and unplug the neighbor's freezer. So their kids can't have ice cream either.
See, my reaction's the opposite. My reaction would be like, totally, let's go to the grocery store, let's spend $50, and let's make the best ice cream sundaes we've ever had in our entire life.
Oh yeah.
Does that make me a hero?
Oh yeah.
Or villainous?
No, you're a hero that day.
Have you ever done that? Just
that?
like went to the grocery store for dessert.
Yeah,
And just
oh, yeah.
bought like, like chocolate sauce, caramel sauce.
No, we've done
bananas.
We've done, like, hey, what do you? Oh yeah, like celebrate an end of a semester. Right? What just pick the thing you want to celebrate. Like, hey, do you want to go? But sometimes it's good to go somewhere to just get the specific dessert, right?
Right.
Like the ice cream shop,
Like
or
Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen,
Not a
or
sponsor.
Dairy Bee, or
Dairy King.
the Creamery, or
The Creamery.
like you just pick your spot. You want to go do the thing.
Not McDonald's because it's always broken.
A McDonald's that isn't broken. Sometimes you go to McDonald's, the ice cream machine's broken, but you get the fries, so then you can drive to Wendy's
Oh,
to get the Frosty to put the McDonald's fries into the Wendy's Frosty. Never done that. But yes, we've done or you give the kids, what do you want to do? Like, you want to go to the grocery store and we'll just like pilfer the frozen section.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah,
Let's do that.
let's go get a whole box of those frozen Twix bars and So yeah, oh yeah, of course. I've done that for it. Now, story from my childhood. We grew up. It was a 30 minutes to get to the nearest Dairy Queen. I mean, probably 15-minute drive, but like you had to, that's work, right? Like you got to get the kids around, and you got to get, by the time you
Shoes
get out
on.
got to get out of the driveway. You got to get to the Dairy Queen. Like it's a big long thing. And one time. This probably like defines something about my DIY personality. But I clearly remember my dad saying one time, we're like, Dad, can we go get Dairy Queen? He goes, I'll make you Dairy Queen. And it was awesome.
Yeah.
Got out whatever we had, right? Just pull it out of the freezer, vanilla ice cream, throw it in the blender, big old scoop of peanut butter, chocolate syrup, blend that baby up. I'll make you Dairy Queen.
In college.
So that explains me. Puts me in a nutshell.
I always had vanilla ice cream in my freezer and frozen strawberries, and I would make strawberry milkshakes. And then we'd go into one of the lecture halls that had a big projector screen and everything. We'd hook up the Nintendo 64, play a little Mario Kart, drinking strawberry. I had a blender. Bring the blender, bring the ice cream, bring the strawberries. Confuse the heck out of the security guards for the first few times that we did it, because we're college kids on a weekend drinking a fluid, and so then it became they would come and get a milkshake from us. Yeah, I love making milkshakes.
So
That's just an aside.
So your milkshakes brought all the security guards
to the yard. Yep, dang right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, man, I love making ice cream. Now, have you ever made ice cream? Like
all the time.
Made ice cream from milk,
family tradition, baby.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Shauna did for the Girl Scouts once as a project. Got the got the salt and did the thing.
I have 4 ice cream freezers. They're called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I could reduce the power grid when I plug them all in at once. I actually done it before.
We had an ice cream machine for a while that you froze the tub, and then you put it in, then you put all the ingredients in, and then it would spin for you.
Amateur hour. Make it.
It was great. It was great.
I have 4 quart, 6 quart. It's a gallon and a half right there.
Man, why aren't we making ice cream right now?
It's like 8 degrees this morning.
That's true. That's true. But it's going to be like mid-40s. It's perfect ice cream when you eat in the weather. I haven't had ice cream in forever because of Shauna's lactose intolerance.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, Keith and I are going to wrap this up and go get ice cream.
Yeah.
But no, kidding. All kidding aside, I want to keep going because I want to. This is just I'm having too much fun with this one.
Yeah.
This whole villain thing. But I want to go on a rant.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Thanks for the pre-warning.
Yeah. So there's this term that I have just become privy to.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I'm sure you've heard it.
Okay.
You may have heard it longer than I. Mm-hmm. But I don't think you've heard it for very long.
Okay.
Tell me right now, how long have you known about this phrase, gaslighting?
Oh, a while.
How long?
College maybe.
Okay. Well,
Because we took philosophy and theology, and
I looked it up.
I think it's somewhere in there. And
I looked it up.
Yeah.
It's kind of joined our lexicon as a popular word. 2016 to 2018, it's gained this popularity. It's based off a novel from like the early 1900s.
Yep.
It turned into a film in like the 1930s. All about the same name, Gaslight, blah, blah, blah. But really it hasn't like joined like the lexicon, like the common English usage. And now it's like the buzzword that gets used all the time.
All the time.
And
especially in an argument.
all the time.
People just drop it like, oh, stop gaslighting
all the
us.
time, right?
It's like,
and I'm like, and I don't even know what it means. No, seriously, I don't know what it means.
Oh,
but
you looked it up.
So I got to go look it up. I got to go do this research. It pretty much means intentionally manipulating to make the other person feel like they're taking crazy pills,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it means.
Sort
it
of,
means like
yeah.
intentionally twisting things to make your motive, your goal is to get the other person to question their reality.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Looked it up. Okay.
I mean, that's not how people use it today.
But
that's the traditional definition of it. Yes.
Like, and there's all sorts of different psychological approaches for this process of convincing someone that the reality they're in, they're not experiencing the way everyone else is.
Yeah.
Right? That's right.
Yeah. It's like if we were like convince you that your shirt is purple right
Yes,
now, and
exactly.
it's not.
And it's not.
But you're like, everybody's so convincing to you that you think there's something wrong with you, your eyesight or your brain or something.
Exactly.
Right.
That's it, right?
Right.
Okay. Now I'm going to define irony. Okay. After I learn what this phrase means, I feel like the whole world has been gaslighting me with this phrase because I felt like this is a word that everybody has known what it means forever.
Oh, yeah, no.
And I'm just like slow to come around. Like this was one of my I'm like, was this a vocabulary word in fourth grade?
Sure, like I missed this.
Was this a vocabulary word in fourth grade? Like what's this mean? And like, are we talking about the whole gas stove issue right now with the gas lighting? Like, I don't know. Like, or we like, I know gas burns, like light gas fuel. I don't know.
Yeah, like lighting, it's dangerous.
And I don't know why it's taking me so long to look it up. But as far as I know, this word's only been around for like 6 months.
No, it's...
So I've been, ironically, I've been gaslighted by the entire world with this phrase in 2022.
It's not something that you knew. So you can't call that gaslighting because you didn't know what it was before. Now, if you had come to the world and said, this is what gaslighting is, and the world's like, no, it's not, it's this, and it changed your mind, then that would be gaslighting.
I don't like made up words. Actually, I do. I love them.
Well, I just to clarify, in case there's people listening that don't know what the common vernacular is with gaslighting,
it's different than my definition?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they most people, if you ask what gaslighting was, right? Like, hey, they're like, oh, stop gaslighting me. And you're like, what does that mean? I don't know, right? They'd be like trying to argue a point that either you don't believe yourself, okay? So it's like the sky is purple and you're arguing it, right? Okay? But you don't believe the sky is actually purple. Or it's where you're giving somebody, basically you're giving somebody false information and you know it, right? So it's similar. It's similar to the actual definition.
Yeah, so you believe...
It's the crazy part at the end, like trying to make them feel insane.
Yeah, that's it.
Is the part that people leave off today. They're just saying like, stop trying to argue with known false information, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I think the whole, calling the sky... I've seen this sky purple.
Yeah, I think it's more like if I was like...
You need a different color.
If I was like, hey, did you know that 53% of Americans think the sky is purple and not blue? Well, I just made that up,
Okay.
right? So I know that I made it up, but I'm trying to convince you by false, statistics and stuff like that.
My wife was watching
Am I
this.
gaslighting you right now on the vernacular definition of gaslighting?
Maybe.
Maybe. You'll never know.
Oh, I will. I looked it up. I read the whole Wikipedia article, which is true because it's on the internet.
Yeah, well, Wikipedia can be, edited by anybody. So,
Woo!
well, that's all the time we have.
It is?
Yeah, that's it.
all right.
What are we talking about next week?
Victims
Victims
of
gaslighting. All right. Well, thanks for joining us today.
No, it's a lot of fun.
It was a great time.
Thanks for letting me rant.
Yeah,
And Keith, look out for that spider.
dude. Bye.